In the neon glow of reality television, where fame can be as fleeting as a dancing flame, one name once towered above all others: Cake Boss. A culinary empire built on sugar, showmanship, and family bonds turned into a pop culture phenomenon almost overnight. Millions of viewers tuned in, week after week, not just for the towering cakes, but for the human stories baked into each confection. They watched Buddy Valastro transform batter into beauty and pressure into stunning edible art. Yet behind the glossy frosting lies a lesson in hubris, decline, and the thin line between triumph and downfall. This is the rise and fall of Cake Boss, a tale of unbridled ambition and the forces that brought a giant to its knees. Long before the glare of studio lights and the roar of ratings numbers, Buddy was a boy kneading dough in his father's small Italian bakery on a quiet block in Hoboken, New Jersey. From the moment he could reach the counter, Buddy's hands were stained by flour, his heart set on perfection. His father, Bartolo Sr., founded Carlo's bakery with a simple creed: quality ingredients and a warm family atmosphere. Those principles were etched into Buddy's upbringing, as he watched each delicate pastry glide under his father's gentle hand, absorbing the lessons of patience, precision, and pride. He learned to shape dough like a sculptor chisels stone, to balance flavors like a composer arranges notes, and to value tradition even as he daydreamed of innovation. Everything changed on a crisp autumn morning in 1994, the day Buddy's world cracked open. At 17, he faced what no teenager should: the loss of his father to lung cancer. Overnight, the responsibility of Carlo's bakery fell squarely on his young shoulders. The familiar scent of vanilla and buttercream was now tinged with grief, and the comforting hum of mixers echoed in an empty shop. With his mother's quiet strength guiding him, Buddy refused to let the legacy die. Sleepless nights became the norm, and the once carefree teen transformed into a determined innovator. He experimented furiously, blending bold flavors and pioneering new cake designs that caught the eye of every customer who walked through the door. It was a baptism by fire, and in that crucible, Buddy forged the skills and resilience that would soon ignite an entertainment revolution. To set himself apart from every other baker in the city, Buddy tapped into a well of creativity that seemed bottomless. He fused traditional Italian pastries with daring presentations, launching cakes shaped like flamenco dancers, baseball gloves, and even fully articulated motorcycles. His signature move became life-size cake sculpting, where gravity and structural engineering played as crucial a role as taste and texture. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Customers lined up around the block, camera crews started popping up in the neighborhood, and social media feeds, then in their infancy, buzzed with images of his edible masterpieces. Each new creation was more ambitious than the last, sparking conversations on morning shows and drawing headlines in lifestyle magazines. With every high-visibility event, weddings, celebrity birthdays, corporate galas, Buddy was staking a claim on the idea that cake could be more than dessert. It could be an experience, a statement, and an art form. In 2009, a television producer walking past Carlo's bakery saw more than just cream and fondant. He saw drama, heart, and the kind of visual spectacle that screamed prime time. When Cake Boss premiered, it shattered conventional cooking show formulas. Viewers were hooked by Buddy's effervescent energy, the camaraderie with his siblings and cousins, and the nearly impossible cake challenges he tackled on a weekly basis. There was the colossal chandelier cake that glittered under studio lights, the edible replica of the Liberty Bell, and the unforgettable gender reveal cake that sparked both laughter and controversy. Ratings soared, and soon Buddy Valastro found himself juggling international tours, brand partnerships, and spin-off series like Kitchen Boss and Next Great Baker. The small bakery in Hoboken became a pilgrimage site for fans, with tourists snapping selfies next to life-size cake sculptures and lining up for hours just to glimpse the maestro at work. Cake became culture, and Buddy became a star. As the world watched in awe, no one saw the cracks forming beneath the sugar-coated surface. Behind those triumphant cake reveals lay mounting pressures, intensifying competition, and a relentless schedule that tested the strongest family ties. While Buddy's persona set him apart, it also painted a target on his back. The elements that sculpted his success would fuel controversies, legal battles, and a fading of public desire. Stay tuned, as the next chapter shows how Cake Boss's empire began to crumble, but as the cameras rolled and the icing smoothed over each cake, cracks were appearing beneath the glossy surface. Cake Boss's explosive growth had set a pace that even Buddy himself struggled to maintain. Orders piled up, deadlines accelerated, and the friendly banter that once electrified episodes began to feel scripted. Viewers who once tuned in for the heartwarming backstories and jaw-dropping cake reveals noticed something different. The narrative shifted from inspiring triumphs to repetitive gimmicks. Instead of witnessing genuine breakthroughs, the audience saw recycled challenges and sparked rumors of backstage tension. The numbers reflected the trend. Ratings that had peaked in 2012 began a steady slide by 2014. What went wrong with a brand once synonymous with innovation and warmth? One of the earliest signs of decline surfaced off-screen, behind the closed doors of the bakery itself. In 2013, accusations emerged that several employees were being paid below minimum wage. Former staff members recounted working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, for as little as $5 an hour. The contrast between the majestic cakes and the meager wages painted a dissonant picture. Social media lit up with hashtags demanding fair treatment, and mainstream outlets seized on the story. The lawsuit forced Carlo's bakery to settle with the Department of Labor, refunding unpaid wages and pledging to implement new policies. Yet even after the settlement, the damage was done. Fans began questioning the authenticity of the family values so heavily marketed on screen. Then came the on-air controversies that shook the brand's wholesome image. In one infamous episode, a prank involving a gender reveal cake went terribly wrong. The show had invited a transgender celebrity to participate, but the reveal mechanism turned into an offensive joke at their expense. Critics decried the stunt as insensitive and tone-deaf. Advocacy groups called for boycotts, and prominent voices within the LGBTQ community publicly denounced the series. For a brand built on generosity and celebration, the backlash hit hard. Sponsors withdrew support, and the network faced pressure to address the insensitivity. Although Buddy and his team issued an apology, many viewers felt the damage was irreparable. Just as the show was trying to regain footing, news broke of Buddy's arrest for driving under the influence. The charismatic chef who had once embodied discipline and dedication was now painted as reckless. Headlines splashed details of the arrest across tabloids and online outlets. Footage of police reports and legal filings circulated freely on gossip sites. Every mention of Cake Boss now risked triggering headlines about personal scandal. Fans who had once admired Buddy's resilience found themselves grappling with disappointment. The arrest served as a stark reminder that celebrity status could not immunize anyone from personal failure. In tandem with legal and public relations challenges, the relentless push for new spin-offs diluted the original show's appeal. Kitchen Boss sought to spotlight Buddy's culinary versatility. Next Great Baker promised to cultivate the next generation of cake artists. Even bake-off specials with rival pastry stars aimed to recapture that electric energy. But each new series chipped away at the novelty. Viewers who had once felt invited into the intimate world of a single bakery now had too many cameras capturing every angle. The authentic moments felt contrived, and the stakes seemed artificially inflated. Without a clear through line, the Cake Boss empire began to resemble a sprawling franchise more interested in capitalizing on its brand than preserving its soul. Perhaps the most damaging blow was the saturation of Cake Boss merchandise in retail storefronts. Branded cake pans, spatulas, and cookbooks lined the shelves of big-box stores. At first, fans purchased these items eagerly, hoping to replicate Buddy's creations in their own kitchens. But as the shelves overflowed, the merchandise became as disposable as a poorly baked batch of cupcakes. Critics pointed to the cookie-cutter designs and mediocre recipe quality. Social media threads compared the licensed products unfavorably to artisan bakeware from small businesses. The irony was painful. A brand that had once stood for bespoke craftsmanship now offered generic trinkets that betrayed its original ethos. All these factors coalesced into a slow-motion unraveling. The glossy veneer cracked, revealing internal fractures. In 2017, after 8 seasons, the network announced Cake Boss would not return. The decision stunned loyal viewers and marked the end of an era. But the saga was far from over, and the next chapter awaited unveiling. But after the final episode aired in 2017, Cake Boss refused to quietly fade away. Viewers who had grown weary of scandals and repetitive gimmicks found new reasons to tune back in, drawn by nostalgia for those jaw-dropping cake sculptures and anticipation of Buddy Valastro's next act. Rather than dwell on mistakes, he leaned into reinvention. In 2018, Buddy launched Bake Squad on a streaming platform that embraced on-demand viewing. The new series flipped the script. Teams of bakers competed under Buddy's mentorship to complete cake challenges in real time. By revealing training sessions, design failures, and emotions, Bake Squad recaptured the authenticity missing from late-season Cake Boss. Early buzz on social media hailed it as a triumphant return to genuine storytelling, blending artistry, drama, and true heart. As Bake Squad rekindled viewer passion, Buddy Valastro simultaneously stretched the Cake Boss brand into new commercial arenas. He launched a virtual bakery concept called Buddy These Cake Slice that sold iconic single servings nationwide through an online ordering platform. By partnering with local micro-fulfillment centers and third-party delivery networks, he sidestepped the overhead of brick-and-mortar storefronts while ensuring fresh delivery within hours. Fans could savor red velvet, salted caramel, or chocolate ganache just like they saw on screen. On another front, he opened Buddy These Italian in Las Vegas, fusing his pastry expertise with rustic Italian comfort food. These ventures displayed a measured approach to diversification, proving that expansion can thrive when tempered with lean operations, transparent sourcing, and brand stewardship. Industry experts applauded this move. Even the best reinvention comes with growing pains. Buddy faced vocal skeptics who questioned whether this digital pivot diluted the craftsmanship that made Cake Boss legendary. Delivery glitches on Cake Slice generated social media flaps, while limited edition bakeware releases sold out too quickly, leaving eager fans disappointed. Rather than shy away from criticism, Buddy and his team turned every complaint into an opportunity. They filmed candid behind-the-scenes footage of warehouse revisions, hosted live Q&A sessions on social platforms, and invited customers to beta test new packaging samples. This radical transparency didn't just smooth over service issues, it also deepened emotional connections with the brand. By transforming problems into participatory problem-solving events, Buddy turned detractors into collaborators, reinforcing a vital truth: authenticity thrives when audiences feel heard and truly valued. A defining moment in Cake Boss's late chapter arrived when Buddy reunited with old rival Duff Goldman on Buddy vs. Duff. At first, critics labeled it another ratings stunt, but the chef's genuine rapport quickly defied expectations. Audiences witnessed not ruthless adversaries but two masters pushing each other to greater heights. Their playful banter, peppered with lighthearted trash talk, unfolded alongside heartfelt moments of mutual respect. Each episode underscored that competition could coexist with authentic camaraderie, restoring viewer faith in the brand's core virtues of creativity and community. Ratings rebounded as fans rediscovered the joy of watching skilled artisans work under pressure. The series became a testament that well-crafted collaborations can revitalize tired franchises, proving that powerful storytelling emerges when personalities unite around shared passion and creative brilliance truly thrives. Parallel to television rebirths, Buddy embraced short-form social media engagement. He dedicated daily slots to posting candid clips on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts, showcasing quick demos, studio bloopers, and personal reflections. Instead of polished television edits, viewers saw his unfiltered side: a dropped tear, a panicked mix-up, or a midnight brainstorming session with his creative team. He responded directly to comments, solicited recipe suggestions, and celebrated fan-made recreations. This grassroots approach drove engagement metrics through the roof, creating a loyal online community that prized accessibility over perfection. Industry observers noted that the authentic micro-moments generated far higher retention than any high-budget production. In rediscovering the power of personal connection, Buddy proved that content creators today succeed by delivering genuine, bite-sized experiences that foster belonging as spectacle. Ultimately, the rise and fall of Cake Boss reveals enduring truths for brands and creators alike. Explosive growth thrives on innovation and creativity, but unchecked expansion invites audience fatigue and breakdowns. Authenticity must align with private practices, lest scandals erode trust built on screen. Strategic reinvention, whether through streaming pivots like Bake Squad, digital commerce with Cake Slice, or social media transparency, can restore credibility when grounded in genuine values. Collaborations with rivals breathe fresh energy into tired formats by spotlighting shared passion over contrived conflict. Direct engagement transforms viewers into partners, fueling loyalty that survives downturns. As we've seen in Buddy Valastro's journey, resilience depends on humility, adaptability, and commitment to craft. The coming section will unpack how you can apply these lessons to engineer your own sustainable ascent. In the journey of Cake Boss, we've witnessed the dazzling highs and devastating lows. We saw how bold creativity can propel a small bakery onto a global stage, yet also how unchecked growth and misaligned values can erode trust. These contrasts form the backbone of a powerful blueprint for any creator or entrepreneur aiming to build a brand that withstands both immediate success and inevitable challenges. First, embrace innovation with intention. Buddy's meteoric rise began when he fused tradition with daring presentations, life-size cake motorcycles, edible chandeliers, and gravity-defying sugar sculptures. But innovation for its own sake can breed burnout. Before you chase your next wow moment, ask, does this advance my core message? Does it solve a real need or simply chase novelty? By marrying creativity to clear objectives, every breakthrough becomes both memorable and strategically aligned. Second, guard authenticity like your most precious ingredient. Early Cake Boss episodes thrived on genuine family bonds and heartfelt storytelling. When workplace scandals and insensitive pranks leaked into public view, that authenticity fractured. Today's audiences sniff out inauthenticity instantly. Your behind-the-scenes practices, how you treat employees, the quality of materials you use, must reflect the values you broadcast. If you champion empathy on camera, ensure it permeates your daily operations. Integrity sustains trust long after a flashy launch fades from memory. Third, embrace radical transparency. When Buddy's delivery platform encountered glitches, instead of hiding failures, he invited customers into the correction process. Live Q&As, warehouse tours, behind-the-scenes footage, these moves turned potential critics into passionate advocates. Transparency isn't about oversharing every detail, it's about acknowledging imperfections, demonstrating solutions, and showing audiences they matter. This two-way dialogue deepens loyalty, transforming passive viewers into invested partners. Fourth, choose your partnerships wisely. Collaboration with Duff Goldman began as a ratings car chase but evolved into a showcase of mutual respect and creative synergy. Contrast that to the proliferation of spin-offs that diluted the Cake Boss brand. Strategic alliances should amplify your strengths and introduce fresh narratives, not overcrowd your own stage. Seek collaborators who share your vision and whose audiences overlap meaningfully, so each joint venture feels both organic and eagerly anticipated. Fifth, balance growth with operational discipline. Rapid expansion, new series, merchandise lines, virtual bakeries unquestionably multiplied Cake Boss's reach. But spin-off fatigue, product oversaturation, and fulfillment missteps followed. As you scale, map out each new initiative against a disciplined growth checklist: capacity planning, quality control, customer support, and brand alignment. Growth should feel like a natural extension of your promise, not a scattershot sprint that outpaces your ability to deliver. Sixth, craft narratives through contrast framing. The rise and fall storyline gripped millions because it juxtaposed triumphs with trials, victories with vulnerabilities. In your own content, alternate high-impact success stories with moments of candid struggle. Show audiences the stakes behind every milestone: late-night brainstorming sessions, creative dead ends, and course corrections. This dynamic framing keeps your narrative fresh and emotionally resonant, driving viewers to lean in rather than scroll past. Seventh, harness the power of micro-moment engagement. Bake Squad's success on streaming and TikTok clips revealed that modern audiences crave bite-sized authenticity. Supplement your flagship productions with daily glimpses, a dropped cake tear in real time, a clash of ideas at the planning table, or a heartfelt thank you to a longtime customer. These micro-moments humanize your brand and build emotional bank accounts that pay dividends when launching major initiatives. Eighth, measure impact with both quantitative and qualitative metrics. TV ratings and follower counts tell part of the story, but sentiment analysis, customer reviews, and employee feedback offer rich context. When Cake Boss merchandise sold out only to disappoint with mediocre quality, negative chatter drowned out headline numbers. Establish feedback loops that capture voice of customer insights: early prototype tests, focus groups, or private beta launches to course correct before missteps become full-blown controversies. Ninth, foster a culture of continuous learning. Buddy turned every setback, from wage disputes to DUI headlines, into a catalyst for improvement. You can do the same by embedding postmortems into your routine. What misalignment surfaced? Which processes faltered? How did public perception shift? Document these learnings and build playbooks that convert pain points into best practices. Over time, your organization morphs into a resilient organism that adapts faster than trends flicker. 10th, anchor your brand in purpose. The most enduring ventures, whether a beloved bakery or a groundbreaking tech startup, are anchored by a purpose that transcends transactions. For Cake Boss, it was family unity and edible artistry. For you, it might be community uplift, educational transformation, or sustainability. Clarify that purpose and weave it through every product, every piece of content, and every customer touchpoint. That unwavering North Star guides decision-making and inspires audiences to stay loyal long after the next big trend fades. By weaving these 10 strategic threads: intentional innovation, unwavering authenticity, radical transparency, selective partnerships, disciplined growth, contrast framing, micro-moment engagement, robust measurement, continuous learning, and purpose anchoring, you create a narrative tapestry as rich and intricate as Buddy's most ambitious cakes. These building blocks transform fleeting sparks of fame into a slow-burn legacy that withstands storms and sustains growth. As our analysis of Cake Boss reaches its midpoint, we stand at a crossroads. Equipped with lessons garnered from both soaring victories and humbling setbacks, you now have a framework to engineer your own ascent, one that balances imagination with integrity. In the next section, we'll delve into concrete case studies, showing exactly how these principles play out in real-world scenarios, and how you can tailor them to your unique vision. Now let's ground these principles in real-world scenarios, so you see exactly how intentional innovation, radical transparency, and contrast framing play out, and how you can adapt them to your own ambitions. Consider Sweet Start Bakery, a small artisanal shop that saw steady local success but struggled to stand out online. Inspired by Cake Boss's intentional innovation, they launched a flavor lab series on social media. Each week, they unveiled a daring new cake flavor: lavender a honey lemon one week, miso caramel the next, inviting followers to vote on the winner. Instead of chasing novelty for novelty's sake, Sweet Start tied every flavor to a story: the lavender harvest from a neighboring farm or the origins of Japanese miso. Sales spiked 40% as curious customers flooded in to taste the winners, and engagement on posts climbed by 300%. By marrying creativity to clear objectives, product development, brand storytelling, Sweet Start transformed casual scrollers into devoted ambassadors. And next, take Brewmaster's Coffee, a regional roaster that prided itself on ethical sourcing but faced skepticism when a supplier scandal broke. Some batches tested higher than their advertised fair trade levels, and rumors spread that the beans came from exploitative farms. Rather than issue a bland apology, Brewmasters embraced radical transparency. They published full audit reports, hosted live Q&A sessions with farmers on Instagram, and invited a third-party NGO to review their supply chain in real time. Within days, social media comments shifted from outrage to admiration. Customers marveled at Brewmasters' willingness to expose raw data and wrestle with imperfections. Months later, loyalty surveys showed a 25% increase in Net Promoter Score. By acknowledging flaws and showing step-by-step improvements, Brewmasters turned a potential brand crisis into a powerful trust builder. Home Chef Pro, a subscription-based meal kit service, struggled with oversaturation, nearly identical protein and veg selections, email blasts that felt spammy, and partnerships with influencers who had no real cooking skill. Engagement dipped, cancellations rose, and referral links went cold. Remembering Cake Boss's lesson on selective partnerships, Home Chef Pro overhauled its strategy. They partnered with a respected Michelin star chef known for accessible home cooking. Together, they co-created a Taste of Technique series, behind-the-scenes videos revealing how to butterfly a chicken breast, knead perfect pizza dough, and master show-stopping plating. Rather than endless brand logos, Home Chef Pro's content featured genuine teaching moments, and referral codes became invitations to learn alongside the trusted chef. In the first quarter, new subscriptions climbed 60%, referrals tripled, and customer feedback pivoted from generic to inspiring. By choosing a collaborator who amplified their mission, Home Chef Pro rekindled subscriber excitement. Then there's Glam Beauty, a cosmetics brand overwhelmed by product fatigue, eyeshadow palettes galore, #challenges that fizzled, and customer reviews complaining of breakouts. To restore authenticity, they launched Real Skin, Real Stories, a campaign spotlighting unscripted user testimonials. Weekly, they posted raw video clips of customers sharing their skincare struggles, and Glam Beauty's founders responded by live formulating small batches of custom serums. When distribution hiccups left some customers waiting, Glam Beauty didn't hide. Co-founders filmed themselves troubleshooting the fulfillment center and personally reshipping orders. The combination of vulnerability and proactive problem-solving hit a nerve. Within months, social chatter moved from "meh" to "I feel heard." Glam Beauty's Instagram following grew 45%, and average order value climbed as repeat buyers embraced the brand's empathetic posture. Finally, look at FitLife Coaching, an online fitness community that ballooned on TikTok but faced a churn crisis. Followers loved the 15-second workout tips, but few converted to paid programs. FitLife applied contrast framing by launching a two-tiered narrative. First, they created the Grind mini-documentaries, 3-minute episodes showing members hitting plateaus, struggling with motivation, and then conquering personal bests through the paid program. Then they juxtaposed those stories with the Glow clips highlighting the joy of movement, community gatherings, and member-led meetup events. By alternating raw struggle with triumphant celebration, FitLife tapped the same emotional arc that powered Cakeboss's rise and fall narrative. Prospective clients could see both effort and reward, and conversions jumped 75%. The dynamic framing fueled both empathy and aspiration, making the paid programs feel like a natural next step rather than a hard sell. Across these diverse sectors, bakery, coffee, meal kits, beauty, and fitness, you see the same strategic ingredients at work: innovation anchored to purpose, transparency that builds trust, partnerships that amplify authenticity, and storytelling infused with contrast. Whether you're crafting a viral cake reveal or launching a revolutionary app, these case studies prove that lasting impact stems from aligning creative sparks with genuine human connection. Now, take a moment to imagine your own brand's trajectory unfolding on screen. You've seen how Buddy Valastro transformed flour and sugar into spectacle, how he weathered scandals and reinvention, and how he ultimately turned setbacks into springboards. The arc of Cake Boss, from humble beginnings to global phenomenon, collapse, and rebirth, offers a template you can retool for your own ascent. But the real question isn't, could you bake that giant cake? It's, how will you bake your brand's legacy? First, draft your playbook of intentional innovation. List 3 bold projects that align with your core mission and delight your audience. For a bakery, that might be a gravity-defying sugar tower; for a tech startup, a feature that solves your biggest pain point; or for a fitness coach, a landmark challenge that tests mind and body. Frame each idea by asking, what story does this project tell? How will it reinforce your identity? By mapping innovation to narrative, every launch becomes a chapter that feels inevitable and irresistible. Next, conduct your authenticity audit. Rate each aspect of your operation, team culture, supply chain, customer touchpoints against the values you promote on camera. Where do you score a 10 out of 10, and where do you falter? For every gap, create a simple action plan, a transparency report, an internal training session on respectful communication, or a new policy that ensures your practices mirror your promises. When your audience senses that your private world matches the world you broadcast, you create loyalty that outlasts any trend. Then, design your radical transparency campaign. Invite your community behind the scenes, host a live virtual tour, share unedited day-in-the-life clips, or publish progress updates on critical projects. When you encounter hiccups, whether it's a misprinted product label or a website glitch, address them with honesty, detail your fix, and thank those who flagged the issue. This approach does more than mitigate damage; it turns every incident into a relationship-building moment, reinforcing that you view your audience as collaborators rather than passive consumers. Strategic partnerships come next. Identify 1 or 2 collaborators whose strengths complement yours and whose audience overlaps meaningfully with your own. When the timing is right, co-create content or co-launch a product that highlights shared passions. Contrast this with scattershot sponsorships or spin-offs that dilute your message. A well-chosen partner amplifies your narrative rather than drowning it out. Think of Duff Goldman's alliance with Buddy. It wasn't just a ratings stunt, it was a creative synergy that rekindled fan excitement by showcasing mutual respect and shared mastery. As you scale, build a disciplined growth framework. Before embarking on any new channel, product line, or service extension, run it through a 4-point checklist: brand alignment, resource capacity, customer support readiness, and quality assurance. If any criterion falls short, pause and adjust. This discipline prevents the overreach that ensnared Cake Boss merchandise, where fans bought branded spatulas only to discover they lacked the craftsmanship they admired on screen. Growth must feel like an organic chapter in your story, not a desperate scramble for headlines. Don't forget to sprinkle contrast framing into all your storytelling. Alternate your showcases of triumph, stellarly executed product launches, or record-breaking milestones with honest accounts of struggle, late-night revisions, team disagreements, and course corrections. This oscillation creates emotional texture. Audiences lean in when they sense the personal stakes behind every victory. It's the same tension that made viewers binge Cake Boss's early seasons. They wanted both the breathtaking climax and the raw path that led there. Meanwhile, tap into micro-moment engagement. Carve out 10 minutes daily to share unvarnished snippets on social platforms. Perhaps you reveal a spilled batch of icing on TikTok, offer a candid comment on a trending topic via Twitter, or drop a spontaneous tutorial on Instagram stories. These brief, authentic exposures form emotional touchpoints that keep your brand top of mind and build goodwill between major campaigns. They allow fans to feel connected even on days when no blockbuster launch is scheduled. Finally, lock in your feedback loops. Use both data and dialogue to measure impact: website analytics, sentiment analysis tools, customer surveys, and exit interviews. Host quarterly postmortems to dissect successes and slip-ups, then update your playbooks accordingly. This commitment to learning ensures you adapt faster than audience tastes can change, forging an upward spiral rather than a cyclical crash and burn. As you bake your brand's future, remember that every empire rests on a foundation of human connection. Purpose anchors your narrative, authenticity fuels trust, and innovation kindles excitement. By applying the strategic threads woven from the rise and fall and rise again of Cake Boss, you don't just chase fleeting fame, you lay the groundwork for a legacy that endures beyond the final curtain.